You know you guys are on mute, by the way.
When and where were you born?
I was born 2005, April 23rd in London, England.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was it in growing up in London?
I really, really liked it. I found that like the schooling here was really good. And I was fortunate enough to go to boarding school as well. So I kind of went to school for a bit until I was 10 years old in London. And then I effectively spent half the time outside of London in the countryside at a boarding school. So I've had best of both worlds, I think.
Oh, that's cool. You've got every experience then.
Yeah, precisely.
And how is it in in the outside of London?
It's really nice, very peaceful. I like it.
Okay, how did you come up with the idea of doing like the newspaper and stuff?
Yeah. So originally, I started a website when I was kind of super, super young. And I started a website just about cool things to do in London for kids because that website didn't really exist. So I started a web, it was called iCoolKid at the time. And that kind of, as I said, was kind of based for kind of like 8 to 15-year-olds who didn't really know what to do on the weekends and they wanted to find something to do. Then from that, as I started to grow up a little bit, I started to gain a lot more followers and I started to kind of gain a lot more traction and stuff. And people would reach out to me with these kind of really deep moral dilemmas of things that I really was naively very unaware of that was happening in the world around me. I mean, it would be examples of like LGBT kids who couldn't come out in Russia, or people who didn't believe in the same religion as their parents and didn't know what to do. And they were asking for my advice because they'd kind of heard about me in a newspaper or seen an article about me and thought, he seems like he has good advice. And they'd reach out, and honestly, I'd have like no idea what to say because I wasn't able to I mean, I could try and empathize, but I wasn't really in their shoes, so I didn't know what to say. And this was at a super young age as well. So then, as I started to kind of continue, I very quickly realized that I was very naive to a lot of the issues in the world. And from that, I thought, you know what? Like, I have a website, I've got whatever, a few thousand followers on Instagram. I have a platform here which I can use to try and make a difference. So that was kind of how Thread came about, which is what I do now, which is where I kind of realized, look, the world needs to change at a pretty precedented rate. But I don't think that any one person is going to change the world. I think that if you really want to see the world change for the better, it's going to be about local people doing small things to make their local area better or affecting a small amount of people in a positive way. And then when you have local change on a global scale, you can then get global change. So the original idea behind Thread was really just to make a website very similar actually to almost to what you guys are doing, which would just be talking about the good things that people are doing around the world in the hopes that that would inspire other people to do equally good things. So that's originally how Thread came about. And then from there, older brands and very successful kind of brands with older generations would start to reach out to me and say, hey, Jenk, look, you clearly have a really good understanding of social change. You have a good understanding of Generation Z. Please, can you help us? So then from that, that's how the Thread media or the consulting side of the company came about, where we had this publishing side and the kind of newspaper-ish, which we talked about, which would talk about the good things people are doing. And now we have this consulting side, the kind of media side, which is where we consult to older companies and brands about who Generation Z is, what is social change, and we kind of help them gain an understanding of young people.
Wait, so who is this? Did you have like a third party that helped you build your business?
So, I mean, we had like a website developer originally, like back when it was like Cool Kid. But since then we kind of have done it mostly ourselves.
Okay.
That's cool. So you guys built the entire the entire like company business on your own?
I mean, we kind of have a team. It's not specifically just me. We have actually, I'm in the office now, so I can probably show you. There's a team of here, wait. You can see I am in the office now. It's empty because it's Sunday, but you can see that we've got about, well, actually, as of Monday, it's very exciting. We have 14 full-time employees now, as well as about 20 remote writers who write from all across the world for the website.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
cool.
That's cool.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, so what was okay when you were building your website and you were starting to build your business, what was the biggest challenge that you came to?
Ooh, that's a good question. What would be my biggest challenge? I think I think one of the challenges, but so there's two answers to this question. I think the biggest challenge was probably my age originally and just a lack of experience. And I think that not really knowing what the kind of business world looked like at all, or knowing how to make a website or like how that even worked was probably the biggest challenge. But in turn, the lack of experience and the fact that I did it at such a young age allowed me to gain a lot of like press and attention, which then ended up in turn helping me quite a lot. So I was able to, I mean, in the first year of having a website, I think I had like, it was somewhere in the realm of like 100 press stories about like the youngest founder or the youngest CEO, which like I definitely wasn't as well, but I kind of got a lot of press, which I was fortunate enough to have. And then that kind of helped me boost and get more. And then that kind of drove more traffic to the website and my Instagram. So then it kind of, so my biggest challenge was definitely my age and the lack of experience, but in turn, that ended up helping me quite a lot.
How was your age the like a big problem in back then? Did people like not believe that you could do it?
Well, I think it was less that, but the fact that I just didn't know like how, not to make a generalization, but I don't really know how the world worked, to be honest. So I had to kind of go out and get a lot of advice from a lot of different people. My parents being one of them, teachers of kind of both school teachers and kind of just adults from everywhere, kind of all walks of life. So I got a lot of advice from a lot of people around me. But yeah, I think age was probably the biggest limiting factor, but also one of the biggest helpers.
Yeah. When you were building a company, what was like the turning point where it went from being a pretty small company that made it big and took your company to the next level?
I think honestly, when we went from it being iCoolKid to being Thread, like iCoolKid to me was always this small little like baby website that was just talking to like kind of like, I mean, it like it's the way I see it. It was quite popular, it had a lot of traffic, but in my eyes, it became like a proper company from when we turned it into Thread and then we built the consulting branch alongside. So I guess my answer is when we built the consulting branch.
Oh, so how did you advertise your website and your company once you were done with it?
Honestly, we didn't do a huge amount of advertising. It was a lot of word of mouth, and honestly, a lot of it came from my Instagram as well. So I'd advertise effectively my own company through on my own social medias, and then as that started to grow, they would kind of grow in turn with each other.
What was like the most successful ways that you would advertise?
I think if I had to recommend, I would have thought social media is probably the most successful way, and it's definitely the way that I did it. So just talking about it in a kind of original and authentic way, uh, talking about kind of like what you're doing, I guess, it was the best way that I did it, and I drove a lot of traffic from my Instagram to the website in turn.
Yeah. How did you start making money from the website?
So originally we had ads on the website, but we didn't make a huge amount from that. And now as Thread, I don't know if you've kind of seen the website, but we make no money off of the thread.com website because it feels a little bit wrong to monetize off of social change. I don't really like it, just doesn't. Oh, all the phones are going off. So it feels a little bit wrong to kind of go off to monetize off of social change. So we have no ads on the thread.com website, whereas now the entire company is funded by the consulting side. So all the work that we do with other brands as Thread Media, the consulting house, yeah, that kind of funds the website. That's how we make our revenue.
That's interesting.
Which one of the articles that you have that you've published are the most read or liked by the people?
So we have, again, I don't know if you've seen the website, but there's one section which is our exclusive interviews with activists and influencers, not really influencers, they're more activists to be fair. And those are normally the most successful ones for two reasons. A, personally, I like them the best. I think they're really, really well written. The girl who works here who does all of them is unbelievably talented, and she's a fantastic interviewer. And we're normally able to get some really, really good people on. but also they're really successful because when we interview someone, they also talk about their interview with Thread and they post it everywhere. So quite often, if we do an interview with a big activist, all of their followers end up reading the article from us. So they're both the most read because I think they're the best quality, but also because they're the most advertised and talked about.
What was the thing that you liked the most when you were building your business? Like, what did you enjoy the most and do you like the most?
It's a good question. I really, really enjoy public speaking, and as I was building the business, I did a lot of public speaking kind of as I was coming up, because a lot of people, I did a lot of speaking about young entrepreneurship, and I did a lot of interviews. So I think personally, my favorite part was the amount of public speaking I was able to do. I really enjoy it, and hopefully, I think people quite enjoyed it as well. Fingers crossed. But I'm trying to think what else was really enjoyable. I think just meeting new people and also being able to meet new people and get advice from like people who are far, far more successful than me was super, super useful. Because also, I'm going to go back to that age point I made. Everyone's always very happy to help the really young guy because you're kind of asking for advice in a kind of sweet and almost naive way. So people always overload you with advice in a good way, I guess. So meeting new people, getting advice from people far, far higher than me, more successful was really fantastic.
Yeah. So what have you learned from building your business? What have you gained knowledge?
Oh God, hopefully I've learned a lot of things. I've learned recently from the consulting side. I think I've learned the most because on the consulting we do so much research. We talk to so many people. I think I've learned just learning about Generation Z trends and habits because I speak effectively for Generation Z, but from personal experience, I can only speak for people my age, race, religion, living in the same place that I live in. So I can only really speak for that amount of people. Whereas I then talk to and I interview other people and I hear like all of these different like walks and perspectives of life. And it's quite interesting. So what I find quite interesting is the effects that like where you live might have on what you buy, for example. And that's also then what I would talk to, that's what I talk to companies about. So I think that would probably be the answer. I'm trying to think. Just learning about kind of different perspectives, I guess, and learning a lot from different people.
Yeah. If you could start over, if you could go back in time, what would you have done differently when building your business?
I probably would have made Thread earlier. I think I delayed turning iCoolKit into Thread. I was quite scared because it was quite a big push because, we renamed it from iCoolKit to Thread. We restructured it, we repositioned it, and we kind of redid the entire website as well. So I was quite scared to do that. And it was a huge kind of jump for me. So I wish I did that earlier.
So was it because you were like afraid of losing the popularity that iCoolKit had?
Yeah, and I think there was almost like a sentimental and emotional attachment because like as I grew out of the age that iCoolKit was meant for, I figured it was time for a change, but I wish I'd realized that a little bit earlier.
So the iCoolKit was growing up with you.
Exactly. And then I kind of grew, yeah, precisely.
That's cool. Uh, what? How did you feel on the different stages of your business? Let's say, but like when you were barely starting and when you were like transitioning into Thread and afterwards.
I mean, the first thing is that I've loved it the entire time. I think I've always loved it, and I kind of every day that we do more, I get even more happy. So like, I don't want to say that I didn't like it at first, but now I absolutely love it. Like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. There's different feelings. When you're starting, you feel a bit more like like a bit more anxious about how everything's going to go and whether it'll work or not. And then slowly as you kind of grow, you kind of lose the anxiety and you start to realize, okay, we have something stable here. It's starting to kind of work by
It's like an
itself. It's quite
adventure.
nice.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I've loved every single step, but it definitely is a bit more kind of like worrying and anxiety feeling towards the beginning. And then as you kind of leave that, it becomes a bit more kind of, it's always exciting, but it's now instead of the excitement being like, is this going to work? The excitement is now like, what else can we do to add to it? And like, where's our next step?
So when you were when you were in the process of building it, did you have every previous failures that you needed to like redo?
Like really big failure.
I don't think so. I mean, we've had like obstacles we've had to navigate, but not massively. I don't really view the kind of obstacles as obstacles. I think everyone kind of just you kind of have a journey, and whether that winds around different things, then it winds around different things. But I don't think that we've had any huge failures or setbacks or kind of obstacles.
So it's like smooth sailing.
I definitely wouldn't say it was smooth sailing, but it was. I don't think anything really was like awful, horrendous.
Just little waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many people have signed in on your website?
So I'm trying to think. A couple months ago, we had our biggest month because we had a lot of kind of people talking about Thread because we did a lot that month, so a lot of people were on the website. We had 250,000 unique viewers that month, and I think on one of the days specifically, we had about 42,000 people on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
And
your
how old is your average user?
Yeah, like how old is your like age? How is your target age, and like is it the actual the age that uses the website?
I'd have to like double check the exact numbers, but so our target age we say is like 16 to 25 or 16 to 26. The average age is definitely towards the top of that. So our average age is normally like 20 and older. It's normally in between like 19, 20, 21, 22, like that area. I think we lean slightly more female. And I'm trying to think what else. We do have a lot of older readers, to be fair though. Like actually the other day I was looking at the amount of the people who read our websites or our articles on Apple News is like predominantly like 60-year-old men. So while that's not the people who read on the website, like it's funny. There's we kind of span everywhere, but the vast majority is between kind of 19 to 22, and we have a very slight female bias.
How's your life nowadays? Like, do you have any hobbies or something?
Yeah, honestly, life is fantastic. But I've just finished school as well, so I've just graduated, which means that I've got a lot more free time on my
Okay.
hands, which is quite nice. So yeah, no, I do have hobbies. I love music, exercise, but I play I play lots of instruments and I DJ as well. So music is probably my biggest thing outside of Thread.
Wow.
Yeah. Now we're gonna get more into the more fun questions.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So what is your favorite food?
Food.
Yeah.
My granddad is Italian, so I think I'm morally obliged to say Italian.
Yeah, what like do you love pasta, pizza?
Yeah, I think a pasta.
We're also Italian, so that's all
Oh
of
well,
the
there you
foods
go.
that we also eat.
Exactly.
I wish I could still speak the language.
It's so
We
good.
do
Oh, there you go.
a little,
A little bit, yeah.
not that much, but a little.
What makes you happy? What fulfills you?
I mean, aside from Thread, I think music in general. I love like it makes me like. I think music is probably like the one thing that really keeps me going.
Ooh, so what music do you like?
Or I like everything. I like literally everything because I was like classically trained on the piano for like 14 years. So I listened to a lot of classical music, a lot of jazz as well. And because I DJ, I listened to a lot of house. So I couldn't pick a genre.
But like older music or like
I think yeah, I probably skew older music. Just like so I've just pulled up my Spotify to think about it. Yeah, a lot of it is a lot older. I listen to a lot of old school hip hop, Tupac, yeah, stuff like that.
yeah, me too. I also like more old school music.
Yeah, me too.
There you go.
Yeah. What is your dream? Your like your goal in life? I like apart from Thread.
Honestly, I kind of just live. I live every day as it comes. To be honest, um, I'm not too sure. To be honest, I want to get it kind of Thread as big as possible. I want to see what we can do with this, uh, and from there, I'll let you know. But I definitely don't have. I hardly know what I'm doing next week, let alone in the next kind of 10 years.
Well, yeah, you made it pretty obvious in the interview, but just to make sure, what is your passion in what is your passion?
I think social change is probably my passion. So I know you kind of mean outside of thread, but I seriously think that social change is my passion.
Yeah, that's what
Or like
yeah,
just
that's what I
trying
mean.
to kind of trying to have an influence, a positive influence on some kind of scale. And it doesn't need to be a big scale, but it kind of affecting a few people every day is kind of what I love to do.
What did you like study?
So I've just graduated and I studied. Uh, it's like it was last month. I can't remember. I did economics, politics, and maths for A level.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did you decide to take those courses? If you knew that you were gonna continue on with Thread, was it like a backup? Did you have like a backup plan in case Thread didn't
Well,
like?
yeah. So I'm doing my gap year now. I might even do 2 years of gap year, and then hopefully I'm going to go to university. I haven't applied yet, but fingers crossed. I'll apply the end of this calendar year, and then we'll see how that goes. I do want to go to school. I think, but we'll see how Thread's going. But did you ask why I chose those subjects?
Yeah, like did you have like a backup plan?
I mean, yeah, I guess my backup plan would be going to university, but I'm not too sure yet. We'll see if I need it.
That's cool. Now here we have the final question. We're gonna ask if you could give one piece of advice to all the kids in the world, what would you tell them?
Um, I think one piece of advice I really like to give, and someone told me this at quite a young age, was, and it's about young entrepreneurship and starting a company or just following through your idea, is that if you treat your idea like a dream today, you'll have a dream tomorrow. But if you treat your idea like a company today, you'll have a company tomorrow. Which I think is really like, I really love that because it's such an easy thing to do about just if you have an idea, you don't really want to fully commit or you're a bit scared. I think the first thing to do is stop thinking about it like it's a dream. Don't think of it like in the future. Stop saying I'll do it tomorrow, next week, and next month. The idea really is if you start thinking about it like it's a real tangible thing and it's actually a company, then you can work from that very easily. So it's one of the easiest steps you have to make, but it's just flicking the switch in your head of how you think about your idea.
Oh yeah, we loved your TED
Yeah.
talk. We
Oh,
listened
amazing.
we listened to
Oh,
it.
that was, I think I said that in there. So there you go.
Yeah, that was really cool. We loved it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for helping us out on a Sunday. We know it's pretty busy,
No,
and it's like
absolutely not at all.
for
I'm always
yourself.
happy to help. Thank you.
Hey,
You guys are being fantastic. You guys are great interviewers.
Thank
hey,
you.
thank you. You're a great interviewee.
You're very kind. I appreciate it. I would hope so by now.
Really, thanks for helping us out in our book. It's
Absolutely. Best of luck. And
really
be sure
helpful.
to stay in touch. I'd love to help however possible.
Hey, thank you a lot.
Absolutely, for sure, guys.
I'll
Ciao,
be out.
ciao.
Hey, ciao, ciao.
Bye, guys.
I hope you
Bye
have a good
bye.
day. Bye.
And you.
See ya. No, no, don't end it.
Right. Pause recording.
Mm-hmm.